I remember the day everything changed for me. It wasn't a cinematic, life-altering moment. There was no massive deal being signed, no sudden victory, no dramatic turning point. It was just an ordinary morning, coffee in hand, a short to-do list, and one small decision. I would read just 10 pages of a self-improvement book before opening my phone. 10 pages. At the time, I had no idea that this tiny decision would spark a chain of daily wins that, years later, would completely transform the way I think, the way I work, and even the way I see opportunities. This video isn't about a magic formula or a shortcut to becoming a millionaire overnight. It's about something much simpler and much more powerful in a quiet, almost invisible way. How a 1% improvement every single day, a small step, a simple habit, a repeated decision, can build $1 million mindset over time. Not because 1% is magical, but because small, consistent accumulation creates a force so powerful that people chasing instant results never notice it. Let me start with a short story about an old friend of mine. He had a boring office job and constantly felt stuck. Every morning, he'd leave the house late, complain about not having enough time, and come home exhausted. One day, he decided to change just one small thing. Instead of scrolling through social media first thing in the morning, he would write down 3 small ideas for a side project he wanted to start. Just 3 ideas. After 2 weeks, he had a list of 20 ideas. After a month, he started working on one of them for just 1 hour a day. After a year, he had built a simple product that generated extra income. After 3 years, he quit his job. There was no miracle, just a small daily habit repeated consistently until it became the foundation of a completely new life. That's the core idea. Small daily wins compound.
In Atomic Habits, James Clear explains that tiny habits are the building blocks of identity. It's not about doing something big once. It's about doing something small consistently until it becomes part of who you are. In The Slight Edge, Jeff Olson takes it even further, arguing that success isn't the result of one major action, but thousands of small decisions that seem insignificant in the moment, yet make all the difference over time. And in Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill connects repeated thought, belief, and consistent action as the core ingredients of building wealth, all of which begin with a small idea that is nurtured daily. Let me simplify it even more. Imagine adding 1 grain of sand to a pile every single day. On day 1, you see nothing. By day 10, maybe a slight difference. By the 3rd month, the pile starts to take shape. After a year, you have a small hill. After 5 years, that hill could become something much bigger, maybe even a mountain. That's accumulation. The same principle applies to habits, skills, relationships, and money. Now, let me share 3 real stories, not legendary, not exaggerated, but powerful in their simplicity. First, Warren Buffett. Many people know him as one of the most successful investors in the world, but few focus on his daily habits. Buffett spends hours reading every single day, not to look smart, but because daily reading, page after page, builds his understanding of markets, businesses, and value. This simple habit, reading daily, compounded over decades into an unmatched competitive advantage. You don't need to be a genius to do what Buffett does. You just need a small daily habit. Second, Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx. Before becoming a billionaire, she was selling fax machines door to door. She didn't start with a massive business plan. She started with a small idea, then daily experimentation, adjusting fabric, testing, failing, trying again. Every day she took one small step forward. None of those steps were extraordinary on their own, but together they built a global company. She often talks about persistence and simply taking the next step, no matter how small.
The classic story of a tech founder working out of a garage. You've probably heard versions of this before. But what people don't talk about is what those early days actually looked like. Writing a single line of code, testing a feature, sending one email to a potential customer, improving a landing page. No giant leaps, just small daily progress. Over time, those hours compounded into a successful product, then a company. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is rarely a better idea. It's a better daily habit. So how does this actually work in practice? There are 3 simple rules that make the 1% strategy effective. 1. Make it small enough to continue. If you decide to work out for an hour a day when you haven't exercised in years, you'll burn out quickly. But if you commit to walking for 10 minutes a day, your chances of sticking with it are much higher. The habit should be so easy that saying no feels harder than doing it. 2. Make it measurable. Measurement isn't about pressure, it's about awareness. 3 pages read, 10 minutes written, 1 outreach message sent. These are simple, trackable actions. Tracking gives you a sense of progress, even when the progress feels small. 3. Make it consistent. Consistency beats perfection. If you miss a day, don't turn it into a reason to quit. What matters is the accumulation of days over time. Successful people aren't doing extraordinary things, they're just not stopping. I like to think of this like compound interest. When you deposit a small amount into a savings account every day, interest works in your favor. The same thing happens with habits. Each day adds interest to the effort from the day before. Over time, you build a reserve of skills, knowledge, relationships, and confidence. That reserve is what I call a $1 million mindset. Not necessarily about having $1 million, but about thinking in a way that sees opportunities, learns from failure, and invests in itself daily.
Let's make this very practical. Imagine you want to become a writer. Writing 1,000 words a day might feel overwhelming, but 200 words? That's doable. 200 words a day becomes 1,400 a week, around 5,600 a month. In a year, you could have a full book or a collection of articles. The difference isn't talent, it's consistency. Now, you might be wondering, how do you make this habit stick? Here are a few tactics that have worked for me and for people I've worked with. Anchor it to an existing routine. After I brush my teeth, I'll read 1 page. Reduce friction. Prepare everything in advance. Make starting effortless. Celebrate small wins. Even the smallest progress deserves recognition. Create accountability. Tell someone or join a group. Scale gradually. Once it feels easy, increase it slightly. Don't jump too fast. Let me give you another real example. Someone I know committed to reading just 1 page a day about marketing. 1 page. After a year, that's 365 pages, an entire book. After 3 years, that's 3 books. That knowledge slowly transformed how they marketed their business, and over time, their sales grew steadily until the business became profitable and stable. The difference? Not hours of study, just 1 page a day. Sometimes small wins aren't about skills, they're about financial decisions. I know someone who saved just 5% of their income every month. It wasn't a huge amount, but they stayed consistent. Over time, they built an emergency fund, then invested in a small project, then bought property. No sudden breakthrough, just steady accumulation. Now let's talk about something crucial: patience. This kind of growth requires what I'd call unromantic patience. No one likes waiting. We all want fast results. But the mindset built through 1% daily improvement teaches you productive patience, the kind where you act every day instead of just waiting. There's also a powerful psychological shift: identity. When you do something daily, you begin to define yourself by it. You don't say, "I want to be a writer." You say, "I write every day." That shift is what makes habits stick. Every small action becomes a vote for the person you're becoming. And yes, failure will happen. You might stop after a month. You might miss days. That's part of the process. The difference is that successful people return quickly. They don't let one missed day become the end of the story. Now, here's a simple, practical plan you can start today. Choose one small habit. Make it extremely easy. Attach it to something you already do daily. Track it. Mark each completed day. Celebrate weekly consistency, not just outcomes. Increase it gradually. Turn it into part of your identity. Let me leave you with one final idea. Time is your greatest ally, if you use it wisely.
Most people fear time passing without results, but time, when combined with small daily habits, becomes your most powerful asset. $1 million isn't just the number, it's a symbol of accumulation. And $1 million mindset isn't just about money, it's about thinking long-term, acting daily, and trusting the process. I'll close with a personal story. Years ago, I was working on a side project and feeling frustrated. I wasn't seeing results. At one low point, I made a simple commitment, just 5 minutes a day. That's it, 5 minutes. It felt insignificant, but I stayed consistent. 5 minutes became 10. 10 became 30. After a year, I had a simple product. After 2 years, I launched something people actually loved. There was no miracle, just 5 minutes a day, turning into hours, then years of accumulated work. If you take one thing from this video, let it be this. Start small, stay consistent. Trust the power of accumulation. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait until you feel ready. Take your 1% today, then another tomorrow. A year from now, you'll look back and you won't recognize the person you used to be. Now go. Choose one small habit and begin. You don't need all the answers. You just need one small step today. That step might be the beginning of your $1 million mindset.